Trash Discourse seems to be trying to position themselves as next in line for PhilosophyTube stardom by creating safe and friendly, provocative, leftist video essays, fit with costume changes and all the trite virtuous statements you can expect about capitalism and being gay and all of this tired shit. And I too am tired of hearing about this, but there is more with this one. Because this attempt to get let into the Breadtube aristocracy hasn't quite worked out for them. It's a high price to get into this group nowadays, as their foundations are shaky, and one queer speaking out of term could topple their kingdom. So Trash has now made the ill-advised move of turning on their own, making a hit piece about other lefties. And in this case, Trash has exposed themselves as being one of the most detestable people I've seen for a while.
Kavernacle genuinely thinks he's better than all of us, and then doesn't understand why we don't like him. All while he makes up new slurs for queer people. So that's just great.
I see this, my little eyes light up. I do find it fun watching these pretentious fucks try to tear each other down. Which yeah, might be kind of sick of me, but at least I'm enjoying myself. So Trash has gone after Vosh, who has it coming. Not enough bad things are said about him, honestly. And then there's Bad Empanada, who I'm scared of. And there's the Kavernacle. He's probably the least well known of the three, but he does do well making these off-the-cuff commentary videos about trending lefty topics. I do think he is a boring, self-righteous bastard, but in this situation he has been done so dirty. Or at least, Trash has attempted to do Kavernacle dirty. Only the most low IQ, thoughtless idiots are gonna buy any of this shit. But let's do a quick rundown of the type of character Trash is.
The only ethical consumption under capitalism is artisanal, handmade tentacle porn.
No, you see, it's funny because sex. And this is their niche. Like how Lindsay Ellis has film, or Second Thought has historical revisionism. Trash Discourse has wacky sex-related content. Now, I'm not one of these androgynous commentary asexuals, but some of this stuff does make me feel a little prudent. Like, look at this, a wacky cuck video. Well, it's not cool doing this. Innuendo Studios was cool doing this because his life was spiraling out of control, and he was tormented about the fact he was in an open relationship. That's content, but this?
There's also lesbian porn, like a lot of it. And I've watched all of it.
It's fucking unbearable. See, I'm horny, that's my online persona. Well, actually, they do reference Tumblr a lot as well. Something I'm not clued up on. I had a bit of a misunderstanding of the type of Tumblr girls. So, the idea was that there's Sarah Z, evil. This is the type of person that will try to get you fired from your job on a whim if they have a bad day. Then there's Strange Aeons, who I think this type of person at worst would ask for a cigarette and talk to you about stuff you're uninterested in. Some of you may think I'm committing myself to a life of misery saying this, but Strange Aeons, they're pretty cool. She's nice. Some of the stuff that they cover is like quirk chungus online roleplay sort of shit, but they're like a cool internet girl with like a flag. That wasn't what I meant. But then we have Trash Discourse, who is the theatre kid Tumblr type. Very loud, self-important, flamboyant, annoying. This is, in retrospect, probably the majority of people on Tumblr. And see, the Kavernacle came up with this term, the theatre kid left, which I think is very funny, and it wasn't to describe Trash Discourse, but it was to describe the people that I would call the Breadtube aristocracy. And there is criticism that comes with this, that I believe is well founded in someone like PhilosophyTube. See, their channel just used to be this basic introduction to philosophy stuff. I've got a degree and a camera, and I'm gonna put it to good use. Fair enough. And then the channel changed, and now it's this bird, and all she does is say the most cookie-cutter basic shit you can ever imagine.
If we really want to make ethical AI, then we might like to consider this perspective. There is no ethical computation under capitalism.
And you see, the real draw to it isn't the video essays. So, the hell is going on over there? You see, the real draw to it isn't the video essay itself, it's the fact they dress up in funny outfits and do characters. Everybody look at me, showing off my acting chops.
It's not good for young men. Poor lonely buggers. It's not good for females either. Training them to be consumers, married to the state instead of loyal to their husbands.
Oh, bravo. Very compelling stuff. The video this is from is very strange. PhilosophyTube spends ages talking about how having an aging population is actually really cool, because it shows how well the society's doing. Maybe that's a bit reductionist, but the main message is, don't worry about the aging population, it's all okay. Then goes on to say worrying about birth rates is a right-wing myth, and you might think with that she'd get into the topic of immigration. But no, that's kind of a controversial thing to talk about, so instead we get a roleplay of her pretending to be pregnant. I guess don't have kids, be gay, and find happiness through giving me money on Patreon for my virtuous work. And it's effective. There's this pretense of these people making this content for good. They want to be seen as these radical lefties, all the way up to the point that it could actually start affecting their money. Then we have Trash Discourse, a true believer, somebody that is fully brought into thinking that Lindsay Ellis and PhilosophyTube are going to save the world. And they're not just making some silly online entertainment for people to watch when they eat dinner that makes them feel good about themselves. And because the Kavernacle's been making fun of these people, calling them the theatre kid left, Trash Discourse and some other freaks from Blue Sky have decided that this is the Kavernacle inventing a new queerphobic slur.
They should be treated as the sole authorities, not like those degenerate theater kids.
He would also use the term the Nebula elite.
That's why Kavernacle seems so threatened by what he calls the Nebula elite. Which is just straight up an anti-Semitic and anti-queer dog whistle. It's a train whistle. Those trains, the ones you're thinking of.
So we'll get into the Nazi stuff, but I think it needs to be said, it needs to be repeated, that Nebula are an elite, they are an in-group, that it would be very beneficial for a small content creator to suck up to members of.
The creators that I talk to, the creators we bring in, are the creators that our creators bring to me. Many of our most diverse creators were people that you sent my way. People that you're like, hey, you should talk to this person, let me do an intro, or you should reach out to this guy. There's all these great people where I didn't have to do a bunch of research and figure out, is this person a toxic shitbird? They're socially validated to a level already.
You know, Trash, if you back up Lindsay a few more times in her internet arguments, she might open the door for you. Maybe one day she will beckon you into the light and you will ascend to be in the ranks of the Nebula elite.
Lindsay Ellis's video was an existential threat to these channels. If they go and watch better creators like Lindsay Ellis,
get them a Nebula subscription.
Huh? Oh yeah, and this guy did this as well. Michael Burns, he's this desperate false internet friend. He was like, oh, maybe I could get on Nebula. Now I'm just kidding, lol, JK, but maybe. The whole premise of this Trash Discourse video is just ridiculous. It opens with talking about the Nazi furry movement, saying that Nazis recruited from furry communities because they were mostly white males. And with knowing this information, there is a pattern that Trash has noticed with the before mentioned creators.
they're slowly turning these leftist young men into literal Nazis, using left-wing language, appropriating this left-wing language to convince them that they're uniquely smart and rational and good, morally pure. And they're doing it right in front of our faces, just like the actual Nazis did. When you create a space that's unfriendly and hostile to women and marginalized people, you create an ideal hunting ground for Nazi recruitment. And that's what the online left is becoming due to creators like this, whether they're intending to do this or not. And I think they are.
These are far-left, anti-fascist, communist types doing this, apparently. Vosh might be creating a breeding ground for kids he could. He is a sick guy, but one thing I wouldn't attack him on is him being secretly far-right. And because these people like the Kavernacle purge minorities from their community, their source for this is the fact that they say Theatre Kid Left and Nebula Elite in their tweets sometimes. Because Trash Discourse has figured out that the Kavernacle's true intent in doing this is to purge minorities from his community and have a majority white male audience, eventually they're going to do a rug pull and go full National Socialist and start promoting fascism.
This ideology that they're spewing is a way to set up a future narrative that all of the ills of society are actually the fault of this decadent elite. Not politicians and people actually in charge, but this decadent, perverse elite on the left, who allowed all of this to happen through their moral failings and sexual deviance. It's a setup for a later rug pull when they go full mask off and start blaming marginalized people for all of the ills of the world. I know, because the Nazis did exactly that.
I thought peak lefty discourse had already been achieved, but Trash runs out in front to amaze me yet again. If this dry, normie-ass lefty is doing this, how many secret Nazis does Trash think is running around?
Many guys like this purchase subscribers, then they use the authoritative position of having all of these subscribers to attack other leftists and claim themselves as the major authority.
Where'd you learn that from? Who's doing that? This is all just imagining stuff. It's schizophrenia. It's actually dangerous ways of forming thoughts. See, and I thought the Kavernacle wasn't that bad, but I feel stupid because if we run it forward a bit, the Kavernacle made a pretty decent response, but then, after the Kavernacle learns what it's like to be intentionally smeared by someone, he just throws out the same shit.
No one fucking wants this, but it's all about authoritarian control because Keir Starmer and the Labour Party are Nazis. And I don't feel an exaggeration in saying that at all.
Oh, you're surprised by all the extreme far left people just calling everybody Nazis willy-nilly? Well, I thought it was hyperbole a lot of the time. I didn't know they actually meant it. And yeah, I do feel silly, but the point is, this is not a basic good versus evil story. Everybody here sucks. And this next section, I am willing to take an L on, but let's take a listen.
Thought, wow, this guy is really boring. He has a terrible colonizer accent. And I already know all of the information he's saying. Until all that's left is a group of white boys with colonizer accents telling you to attack the sexual degenerates who they claim are the real problem.
Boring slop where he talks in a flat affected colonizer accent into the camera.
I don't know all about class systems in America. Trash is Appalachian, and this seems to be how a standard Appalachian person talks.
So don't take it that way. I'm talking about my personal experiences here in Appalachia.
And then the way I interpret how Trash speaks
is a group of white boys with colonizer accents.
Now, I'm not saying Trash has a colonizer accent, obviously, but the fact they speak like this and have the nerve to say this to someone that has a pretty standard either working or middle class accent in London, it's insane, even if I'm wrong on the Appalachian stuff. And the Kavernacle even responded to this bit, noting that he's ethnically Irish, which in 2025 as progressives we do have to take very seriously.
Being Irish, I'm on my way to Costco and I'm thinking, it's trick or treat, why is it always just treat? And so I bought candy, but I bought 75 pounds of baking potatoes.
Then they won't be watching his bullshit, his slop. His boring slop, just the same things over and over again. Boring slop content.
Now, the whole commentary on slop in general I find really annoying. I watched tons of those videos about slop when they first came out, and I think that low production value, non-scripted content is not really the problem. In fact, I'm starting to feel like a guy sat in his room with his mic is going to be a lot more likely to have some real shit to say than somebody that's funded by a network such as Nebula that feels the need for their script to be accompanied by all of the flashy editing and a full set and a bunch of celebrity cameos.
But the birth rate is not going to go to zero. Sex is a popular hobby.
Oh yeah, see? It's funny because sex. And see, look, I, Trash, am not slop. I change my outfits, and now there's funny coloured lights in the background. Ignore the fact that my mic's clipping so it's agonising to listen to.
The Starfleet officers really take a lot into consideration.
And ignore the fact that over 50% of this video is just meandering self-indulgence and could have easily been cut. These videos are so meandering, it's shocking to me that they are even scripted. Even on a topic that has potential to be interesting, like steroid use. You watch through it and it feels like it's every single thought that's popped into Trash's head with just sex jokes peppered throughout.
But yeah, they're all wearing like leggings now, or like tight compression pants or whatever the manly term for leggings is. And they are caked up. These boys are fucking caked up now. I mean like caked up. Like gluteus maximus is right. Sorry, that's not relevant to you.
This video did stop being fun to make at a certain point in time. This video is 40 minutes, the cock video also 40 minutes. I am confident I could cut like half of the runtime off both these videos and it would only benefit the content. The Kavernacle, as much as the boring allegations are true, is way better at speaking off the cuff than Trash is in a high effort video. It is suffering getting past the 10-minute mark of a Trash Discourse video. And this video, even with it lacking any substance, somehow had a researcher. Let's take a look at what that person's into.
I have my MA in Gothic English Literature, an independent PhD in Gothic Poetics and Little Gothic BDSM, focusing partially on Metroidvania. I'm a male to female trans woman, Tolkien and Amazon enthusiast, anti-fascist, atheist and Satanist, polypan-kinkster, and anarcho-communist.
Call me weird or whatever, but I was interested in someone's PhD being about Ludogothic BDSM and Metroidvania. And they claim to have it on their website, but I'm scrolling through and it's just like pictures of Zelda characters going at it, and them claiming that Carl Jobs is a crypto-fascist. Metroidvania, what are they, in my definition? As of writing this, Metroidvania remain a classically misunderstood, understated game genre, and so on and so on, normal game talk, and then in the middle there's just explicit artwork, just completely unnecessarily. And this person had a talk with another interesting individual, that is President Sunday. And I have my criticisms of this guy, but if Sunday is going to bite someone and just savage them, I'm not going to turn the video off, am I? I'm going to look for other instances of this happening. And he was actually very nice during this conversation, much to my disappointment. I have really talked about this before, but I thought it was going to be good because this person was scared to say the name Vosh because they thought it was blackface.
Yes. But I've done research on and I say just because the name Vosh is actually blackface. It comes from a particular character that he made, Vulcanite, I think, but it
oh yeah, I vaguely remember that from a long time ago.
Yeah, so I tend to just say preferably, but he is someone
just
that
say
even
vouch.
before...
Say vouch.
Yeah.
Classic.
So in case.
The researcher does disclose that they were going to do a consultation with Trash, but I think in a fit of arrogant mania, Trash just made the video and referenced their work, causing this person to make an apology to the Kavernacle. None of them ever watched the Kavernacle either. This person says they didn't expect the Kavernacle to be featured, and Trash says that they never watch his content. Just starts to get a bit confusing if you think about these people like acting rationally. This is an annoying conversation though. The researcher has such poor structure to the way they speak that it makes it very difficult for me to clip.
I dated a non-binary person.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Here's the problem though. When you're surrounded by trans women as I am, and you they them everyone as a matter of course, it gives the wrong impression.
He's surrounded by them. There's a line of traps from outside of his house going all the way down the street. He has a conveyor belt of gawk just rolling into his library. Short Fat Otaku looks through the window, his eyes green with jealousy. Well, this bit wasn't very productive. And the last case we're looking at today is Trash's claim that the Kavernacle is disrespectful to his girlfriend.
Just the same things over and over again. Boring slop content. And occasionally disrespects his girlfriend in front of his entire audience. His content sucks ass.
This comment was made because he does Taylor Swift commentary with his girlfriend, and in one video he interrupted her a few too many times.
She's the biggest pop star in the world. She now has everything.
One of the few billionaire pop stars.
Yeah.
I think if there's no current artist who's like really relevant like to this kind of era.
This is some insane drama. The Kavernacle is never coming back from this. ACC midwit churning out a video a week, just fluffing his script and stammering through them. Absolute tool Anthony Gramigula decided to weigh in on the conversation. I think the fact the Kavernacle didn't actually say, "I didn't abuse my GF," is kind of weird too, to be honest. That should be the easiest thing to debunk, and he didn't really try. Trash Discourse never used the term abuse. The Kavernacle addressed what they were referring to, which was him interrupting his girlfriend.
This person is actually referring to is some criticism I got on my Taylor Swift video of my girlfriend where I would interrupt her. And you can go in the comments of that video and people have said it, and I look back and I admit that I did do it. I just got a bit too excited having this fun debate, and I accept the criticism. And then we made another video about us turning 30, and the format was completely different. It was just like a sit-down kind of interview.
But Anthony Gramigula is now questioning whether he is abusive. And to finish up, we have Trash Discourse not apologising, but addressing something. I probably could have separated them into Nazis and guys who are unaware they're pushing their own unexamined biases on their audience. And that That guy just really annoyed me with his unexamined misogyny. He's not a capital N Nazi like that other guy. The video did actually go down for a couple of hours whilst I was making mine. Much to my happiness, it went back up, and I thought maybe it was going to be a little bit edited out or something, but it's the same length as what I downloaded. And I'm just going to go back to this thing. These people make these videos under the pretense that they are trying to do good for the world, but they have all the information to now know that they are actively harming someone by calling them a Nazi and saying that they're bad to their girlfriend, and this is the level of apology we're getting with Trash Discourse. And that's it really. This didn't take a month to make. I've been doing another big retrospective video, and I just thought I'll shit this out in a couple days, it should be fun. Thanks for watching.